Hello, everyone, and welcome to Changing What's Possible, the Disability Innovation Podcast brought to you by the Cerebral Palsy Alliance Research Foundation. I'm your host, Dr. Marie McNeely, and I'm joined today by Jocelyn Cohen. So, Jocelyn, welcome to the show.
Thanks for having me. I'm excited to be here today.
Well, we are excited to have you, and listeners, we're here today to tell you more about this podcast and why you should listen to the fantastic episodes that we have lined up for season 1. So let's get started with some introductions. Jocelyn, could you introduce yourself and tell our listeners a little bit more about you and more about CPARF?
Sure. I'm Jocelyn Cohen. I'm Vice President of Communications and Engagement at Cerebral Palsy Alliance Research Foundation. I've been here a little over 3 years and I have CP myself. So our mission is really close to my heart. And I love that we're doing this podcast to amplify stories that are really important. As far as CPARF's work goes, we were founded in 2015 to fund the best US-based cerebral palsy researchers in the areas of early detection and early intervention, chronic pain, genomics, regenerative medicine, and technology. And in 2022, we've expanded our mission to approach CP from all angles because there are 18 million people worldwide with CP and 1 million people here in the US. We are committed to funding life-changing research for every single person with CP, and we're also looking to implement it to bring science from the pages of prestigious publications to the people with CP who need it the most. And we've also taken a huge leap forward in the technology space, building on our research focus. This year, we launched Remarkable US. It's the first nonprofit-funded disability technology startup accelerator, and it supports life-changing technology for people with cerebral palsy and other disabilities in the United States. We're so grateful to SmartJob LLC, our Remarkable US sponsor. CPARF works in partnership with Remarkable, a transformative Australia-based startup accelerator made possible by Cerebral Palsy Alliance. And our goal is to power up the potential of people with disabilities around the world.
Excellent. And I know CPARF has some phenomenal initiatives and so much great work going on right now. And I'm excited to be part of this podcast. So listeners, a little bit about me. I'm a science communicator and PhD trained neuroscientist with a research background in movement disorders. And I'm just looking forward to helping to bring to light some of these stories of the innovators and the people with disabilities through this new podcast as your host. So I guess let's dive into the details, Jocelyn. Can you start by telling everyone some of the background and why CPARF decided to create this particular show?
Absolutely. So through Remarkable and Remarkable US, we're making accessibility accessible. And part of that means that we need to talk about accessibility more. The 8 companies that are part of this year's Remarkable cohort are based all around the world, in Australia, the US, and the UK. And each startup focuses on technology designed to increase accessibility and affordability in a bunch of different ways. And we want to share it with the world. We want everyone to know about these developments from entrepreneurs who are bringing them to life and from the people who've already experienced the technology itself.
That is phenomenal. And I'm excited already about some of these episodes that we have lined up for season 1. So Jocelyn, can you tell our listeners, I guess, what can they expect in some of these upcoming episodes of Changing What's Possible?
So this season, the first half of each episode will feature a discussion with one of the 8 entrepreneurs in Remarkable's 2022 cohort. It'll touch on what their product does and why it's transformative for people with disabilities, or it'll touch on their service because we do fund products and services. And after that, we'll feature the firsthand experience that people have had with this technology and how it's already enhanced their lives.
Fantastic. And I really like that the focus is not on, as you mentioned, some sort of fancy technology being developed in some research paper that's far away from people who need it. These are things that are actually being developed that can have real impacts now, which is amazing. So listeners, if that wasn't enough to convince you already that you should join us to hear some of these phenomenal stories, Jocelyn, who do you think should definitely be listening and why?
We're sharing remarkable stories of life-changing tech here. And so we welcome any and every listener, especially people with cerebral palsy and the wider disability community, so they can learn about these developments as they happen. The beauty of Remarkable US is that these innovations, as you said, are happening in real time and they're being worked on right now. And because we're focused on transformative innovation, anyone who's creative or focused on technology would also find this intriguing because these stories need to be told and they deserve to be heard.
Oh, fantastic. And as we mentioned, this is a brand new show. So for listeners who want to learn more or maybe find new episodes, can you share the details?
Absolutely. You can listen to a new episode of Changing What's Possible on the first Friday of every month, starting on Friday, July 1st, wherever you get your podcasts. Each episode will also feature a transcript for accessibility purposes. And to learn more about our work, visit www.cparf, that's CPARF.org.
Excellent. Well, Jocelyn, it was wonderful to chat with you today. I know this is a short episode. Listeners will have full-length episodes coming to you soon. So thank you so much, Jocelyn, for joining us for this introductory episode.
Thank you for having me.
It was a pleasure. And listeners, we appreciate you joining us today as well. Don't forget to subscribe to the show on your favorite podcast platform. And we can't wait to connect again in the next episode of Changing What's Possible.